wouldn't have been late, and I would have had him already with me for orientation after.
What school's grade he going into?
He's 11th, but he's doing the career center, so we've got the OTC orientation, and I needed to reschedule it from tomorrow to today because I needed the babysitting so that I could focus on him. But he chose dishes over being here, and I'm like, you really don't. I'm not gonna fight you because I need to leave. But I'm like, when you're choosing dishes, those dishes better return when I get back.
Right.
But I have dishes, Mom. Okay, fine. I'm not going to convince you in the 2 minutes I have. All right, let me know when to go. Okay. Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store. You're Melissa? Okay. My name is Christina, and I'm here with Melissa. We invite you to listen to our broadcast, both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday to Friday, between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU subcarrier waves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Says he'll be locked in a cage where he belongs. Family reacts to sentence and murder of homeless man. In court Monday morning, August 3rd, Jimmy Wayne Earl Nunnery stopped short of admitting he murdered a homeless man by strangling him back in 2024. Instead, 53-year-old Nunnery entered an Alfred plea of guilty to a Class A felony of second-degree murder for the death of 59-year-old Brian York. An Alfred plea means he accepted a guilty verdict without actually admitting he committed the crime. Chantel Kelly with the Public Defender's Office told Judge Jerry Harmison that Nunnery, who was also homeless at the time of the murder, was intoxicated at the time of York's murder and would not be able to say what the facts are. They have a picture of here with Nunnery here. It's Caucasian man, curly hair, gray beard. York's body was discovered under a bush in the 1800 block of East Bennett Street on October 9th, 2024. Investigators soon discovered that York had injuries consistent with an assault that resulted in his death. An autopsy would later reveal that he had been strangled. Harmison accepted Nunnery's guilty plea and, in accordance with the plea agreement, sentenced Nunnery to 18 years in Missouri Department of Correction prison. He will have to serve 85% of his sentence before being eligible for parole. He was given credit for time served in jail prior to Monday's hearing. York's sister Dory Husky sat on the first row of the gallery, clutching her brother's photo and a prepared victim impact statement, which she didn't read in court. There's a picture here of Brian York. He's wearing a U.S. Army hat, clean cut, shaved, with a beard. She later explained she was afraid doing so might have caused Nunnery to change his mind about pleading guilty. We wanted the conviction, so whatever it takes, she said. We got the Class A felony conviction for murder. That's what we wanted. I'm glad it's over, Husky said in the courtroom hallway. He'll go to prison. He'll be locked in a cage where he belongs. My brother didn't deserve what happened to him. Brian York's niece, Claire York, also came to court on Monday, August 3rd. It's not the length of time we wanted, Claire York said of Nunnery's 18-year sentence, but at least we got the guilty to the conviction as it is and not a lesser charge. She saw you choke the life out of Mr. York. Before the judge accepted Nunnery's plea, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Nicholas Burgeon explained what evidence would have been presented had the case gone to trial, which included photos of York's bruised and bloody body, testimonies from witnesses, and a video that showed Nunnery and Nunnery's girlfriend, Nichelle Franklin, near the scene just before the murder occurred. The state would introduce the testimony of Nichelle Franklin. She would explain that on early morning hours of October 9, 2024, you and Mr. York got into a physical altercation in which Mr. York was killed, Burgin said. The state would introduce either testimony from Mrs. Franklin or a prior interview with her, where she specifically talked about how she saw you choke the life out of Mr. York. That statement was made before the autopsy came back to show the cause of death was strangulation, Burgin said. When Judge Harmison asked Nunnery if he believed there was a substantial evidence against him and that Nunnery would likely be found guilty at trial, Nunnery replied, "Yes, sir." Victim impact. Brian's life mattered. Husky shared her victim impact statement with the Daily Citizen. She wrote in part, "We're happy that he's finally accepting responsibility for this murder and will be locked in a cage where he belongs. I like to think that Brian's last good deed was to get the violent predator removed from society so he can no longer prey upon the most vulnerable folks. We only wish it could have been for a longer period of time. It's not the outcome we had hoped for, but at least he will have a murder conviction on his record. This is not his first violent crime, and we have no doubt he will reoffend. So we can only pray for any future victims." There's a picture here of Brian York, a memorial. They've got some flowers and pictures of him and looks like his family and sisters. "I can only imagine my brother's overwhelming fear and panic as he was facing the stars and being forcefully held down in a confined space and struggling to catch one last breath. I hope that image of his face gasping for air haunts this murderer relentlessly until his dying day. That is the punishment this murderer also deserves. We would like to thank all of the first responders who had helped Brian, and the police and homicide detectives and all the prosecution team, everyone who has worked this case. Your time and efforts are greatly appreciated. And all of the family, friends, and advocates for unsheltered folks who helped Brian and are still here and helping us today. I can never thank them enough. Brian's life mattered." Sister says Nunnery target Brian York. York was something of a fixture at this intersection of Glenstone Avenue and Bennett Street in the few years before his death. His body was discovered under a bush near the intersection, a spot where he often slept and kept his things. Those who knew York have described him as a generous and gentle man who struggled with mental health. He was also in declining physical health and described as frail. Those struggles, on top of being unsheltered, made him a frequent target for bullies, and particularly Nunnery. According to a police report and those close to York, Nunnery had assaulted York on different occasions prior to the murder, and at least one of those assaults landed York in the hospital, Husky said. He had been brutally assaulted by the same guy, Nunnery, 3 times before that I know of, maybe 4, Husky said. Everybody on the street knew it, and everybody told them to stay away from him and stop stealing from him. Brian had relocated 3 times, and I know of trying to stay away from them, she said, but on the streets you can't get away. There's no place for him to go. Brian was terrified of retaliation, and here we are. Even if he came to my house, Nunnery knew where we lived. She said he came there once and took a bicycle from Brian. He knew. There was nothing getting away from him. Honoring Brian York, soon after her brother's death, Husky created a makeshift memorial with flowers, balloons, trinkets, and personal messages near the bush where York's body was found. Though thieves often took trinkets from the memorial, Husky and others who knew York have maintained it still. Yeah, they show the house with the memorial under a shrub. In November 2024, about 40 people attended a memorial service for York held at Oak Grove Park, one of York's favorite places. And in April, Husky placed a brick for her brother at the victim's memorial garden at Phelps Grove Park. Though he was himself homeless, Brian York was known to save up money on his food stamp card so that he could donate to Gathering Friends, a grassroots organization of volunteers who help the unsheltered community in Springfield. For Thanksgiving 2023, York saved up on his food stamp card so he could purchase 2 turkeys and a ham to be served to those in need. Loved by many, Brian had his own issues, Husky said, but he had a lot of people that loved him. He had regulars that would come by and donate to him food, water, whatever. We've heard from so many people since his death that told us stories about their encounters with him. Because Brian York's body was found in a location where he was known to be, Husky heard the scanner chatter about the body, and when was there within 5 minutes. She arrived just after the first officer arrived and was able to see her brother's battered body from 10 feet away. As awful as it was, she said she was thankful to be there to watch over her brother's body and his belongings. Claire York, too, also feared it was her uncle. As soon as she heard the location, she arrived at the scene minutes later. There's a picture here of them for the memorial. We stayed on scene, Aunt Dory and I, while they processed the scene. We were both there after they were finished. We cleaned up Uncle Brian's belongings, Claire York said. There were so many people that walked through that was unsheltered that asked us what had happened if it was him. They would tell us, oh man, he's going to be missed. He was such a great person. We heard so many stories that day. Claire York said she feels bad that she didn't stop to visit with her uncle much in those last years of his life because she never knew what kind of day he was going to be having. I carry a lot of wish I would have stopped because I saw him frequently, she said, outside the courtroom on Monday. There's not really words to express that I feel internally, but just because someone is homeless doesn't mean that they're not deserving. They need support. The majority of people have a mental health issue, and there's just not enough resources. The story was by Jackie Rewald. Jackie Rewald is a reporter at the Springfield Daily Citizen. She covers public safety, the courts, homeless, domestic violence, and other social issues. Her office line is 417-837-3659.
Voting accessibility remains key for local residents with disabilities. This is from Ozarks First by Drew Tassett. Polk County, Missouri. With the primary election set for Tuesday, August 4th, voting accessibility is top of mind for people with disabilities. Polk County resident Brad Stowe shared his decade-long experience navigating the voting system. He is one of many who uses Missouri's permanent absentee ballot list because he has difficulty getting around and has had issues in the past with precinct machines. The accessible machines were rather slow, clunky, sometimes didn't work right, said Stowe. Plus, with the ease of transportation, it's easier to just have it mailed to me, fill it out on my own time, and send it back. According to the Missouri Secretary of State and the League of Women Voters, voters with permanent disabilities can register for automatic absentee ballots without a notary requirement. They can also request audio-assisted machines at polling locations and bring an assistant into the booth on Election Day. Do you want me to just go ahead with the voter guide? Oh, yeah, this turned out to be a short one.
So this is Springfield News Leader. You don't have to be a student to enjoy Mo back-to-school tax holiday. Days after voting on the future of sales tax in the state, Missourians will get a temporary reprieve from some of those taxes. Starting Friday, August 7th, and extending through Sunday, August 9th, certain items will be free from local or state sales tax throughout Missouri. While the tax holiday is billed as a back-to-school event, there's no obligation for the tax-free products you'll purchase to be destined for the classroom. However, the holiday is limited to certain items such as school supplies, clothing, and computers with certain price limits. The items also must be meant for personal rather than business use. There's a picture here with little pencils, markers. The 3-day annual tax holiday always starts on Friday of the month, on the first Friday of the month. That makes it the latest it can be this year, but still allows about 2 weeks before most Missouri students head back to the class the week of August 24th. For now, here's what you should know to make the most of the tax-free shopping this year. When is Missouri's tax-free weekend in 2026? Missouri's back-to-school sales tax holiday begins the first Friday in August at 12:01 a.m. and stretches through midnight on Sunday. This year, that's August 7th to the 9th. The state first held a tax holiday in 2004. The following year, Missouri made it an annual event. What items are covered? Items exempt from sales tax during the holiday include clothing with a taxable value of $100 or less per item, up to $50 per purchase of school supplies, up to $350 of computer software, personal computers or related devices up to $1,500, and graphing calculators up to $150. For purpose of the tax holiday, the list of tax-exempt clothing includes diapers and materials used to make school uniforms or other school clothing. It doesn't include watches, watch bands, jewelry, handbags, handkerchiefs, umbrellas, scarves, ties, headbands, or belts or buckles. School supplies include anything used in a typical classroom for educational reasons, including writing and art supplies, textbooks, backpack, calculators, rulers, and globes. They don't include radios, headphones, sports equipment, telephones, office equipment, or furniture. More complete list of eligible and ineligible items are available on the Missouri Department of Revenue website. The tax holiday applies to items bought over the internet and items that are ordered during the holiday but not delivered until later, as long as the purchase is complete before the holiday ends. Purchases need to be for personal use. The state considers it a personal use when teachers use their own money to purchase school supplies for their classroom, but not if someone buys items to use in the classroom. What does the Missouri tax-free weekend apply? The tax holiday applies throughout Missouri, whether you're a resident or visiting from out of state. Local jurisdictions can no longer opt out of offering a holiday from local taxes as well. How much can I save during the Missouri tax-free weekend? The amount you'll save compared to a normal weekend depends on exactly where you're shopping, as various cities, counties, and districts have different tax rates. In some parts of Kansas City area, the total sales tax rate can reach more than 11%, and in the part of St. Louis County, it exceeds 12%. The state sales tax rate is 4.225%. That means that if you spend close to the $1,500 limit on computers, for example, you could save more than $60 in state sales tax alone. The amount could be higher if you're also buying clothing, school supplies, or software, if you make multiple purchases throughout the weekend, or if you factor in local tax savings. Are there other Missouri tax sales holidays I should know about? Missouri also has a week-long Show Me Green sales tax holiday for new Energy Star appliances in April.
Springfield Daily Citizen. Springfield, Missouri voting guide, everything you need to know for the August 4th primary election. Top issues include constitutional amendments on state taxes and on making it more difficult to pass amendments initiated through the petitions by Jack McGee and Zoe McIntyre. Pictured are several I voted stickers, which are look like the child's-like design with lots of blue stars in the background of a red and white striped star in the middle that says I voted on it with an exclamation point. Participating in the democratic process comes with a sticker. Photo by Jim Wilson. Springfield area voters on August 4th will join the rest of the state in deciding the fate of 4 amendments to the Missouri Constitution, all placed on the ballot by the state legislature. Depending on where you live and which party's ballot you pull, you could also help decide which Republican candidates will earn a spot on the November ballot, with contested GOP primaries for Missouri's 7th Congressional District, Greene County Circuit Clerk, Christian County Presiding Commissioner, and several area state legislative districts. Aside from the state auditor race, there are no Democratic primary contests in the Springfield area. The Daily Citizen has reported on each of these Republican primaries and several ballot measures, including Amendments 4 and 5, as well as a proposed 1% sales tax for the Nixa Fire Protection District. This voting guide gathers those stories into one place. How to use this guide. Learn more about what's on the ballot and how to vote below. To make for quicker scrolling, we've divided the guide into sections: statewide ballot measures, local legislative contests, the 7th Congressional District, countywide races, and the Nixa sales tax measure. In several places, we have condensed information, and you can expand the text to read the details. Just look for headlines separated by lines at the top and bottom and triangle arrow on the left. The headline is followed by the words "click to view." If you are interested in the details, just click on the headline, and a box of information will drop down for you to read. The first example is like below: Election Day Basics, when, how, and where to vote. When is the election? Election Day is Tuesday, August 4th. Polls open at 6 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. How do I register to vote or check my registration? The registration deadline to vote on August 4th has already passed. Check Missouri Secretary of State's website to confirm the status of your registration. Where do I vote? You can find a list of Greene County polling locations by scrolling down on the voting information page on the Greene County Clerk's office. Click for a list of Christian County polling places. You can also check your polling location through the Missouri Secretary of State's website. What kind of identification do I need in order to vote? You will be required to provide some type of valid government-issued photo ID in order to vote. Examples include a non-expired Missouri driver's license or obtain a free non-driver's license issued by the state, a U.S. passport, or a military photo ID. Can I vote early by absentee ballot? A special 2-week window allows for no excuse absentee voting. 2 locations are available for Greene County voters. At the Greene County Election Center, 1126 North Boonville Avenue, you can vote weekdays through August 3rd from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The center is also open for voting on Saturday, August 1st from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. At the Library Center, 4653 South Campbell Avenue, you can vote weekdays through August 3rd from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Saturday, August 1st from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. In Christian County, absentee voting is available at the County Clerk's Office, 100 West Church Street in Ozark, room 304, weekdays from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday, August 1st from 8 a.m. to noon. Choosing a ballot. When a voter checks in at their polling place for a Missouri primary, an election worker will ask which ballot they would like. A voter has 3 choices: Republican, Democrat, or Libertarian. According to the Missouri Secretary of State's office, voters who do not wish to select a party ballot may request a ballot containing other issues if their jurisdiction's ballot contains issues. Constitutional amendments. Amendment 5. Pictured is the Missouri State Capitol in Jefferson City on January 15th, 2025. And it is a large columned building, gray stone, and a turret. On August 4th, Missouri voters will determine the future of the state's tax system with Amendment 5. If approved, the measure would pave the way for the state legislature to phase out the individual income tax and give lawmakers 5 years to offset the phase-out by increase in expanding sales and use taxes. The measure would also require local tax rate cuts when local revenues increase, potentially creating downstream effects for other jurisdictions. Proponents of Amendment 5 argue that phasing out the income tax will make Missouri more economically competitive and lower the overall cost of living, while opponents fear it would dramatically increase daily costs through sales tax for Missourians and local businesses and deal a blow to the state budget. Pictured is 1X, the tax, yes on 5 board, and then also no on 5, protect Missouri taxpayers on the other. Amendment 4. Currently, all constitutional amendments, whether placed on the ballot by the state legislature or through the initiative petition process, require a simple statewide majority to pass. If passed by voters, Amendment 4 would require future citizen-led constitutional amendments to receive a majority vote in each of the 8 congressional districts. The measure would not apply to constitutional amendments approved by the legislature. Supporters frame Amendment 4 as a means to eliminate out-of-state influence on elections and ensure that constitutional amendments have broad support from around the state. Opponents, on the other hand, argue that the measure would make it virtually impossible to change the state constitution through the initiative petition process going forward. Pictured are 2 people outside of a building. One is carrying a large clipboard to talk to the other. Both are wearing backpacks and look like young people on a campus. Amendment 4 would make it tougher for citizen-led constitutional amendments to pass in Missouri. This was an article from July 23rd, 2026. Amendment, read the ballot language. Let's do that. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to modify current requirements that a statewide majority of voters may approve initiative petitions to amend the Constitution, require a majority of voters in each congressional district to approve initiative petitions to amend the Constitution, and make available to each voter the full text of initiative petitions with their ballot? ? The State of Corrections estimates increased annual costs of up to $21,817. The Office of State Public Defender estimates an unknown fiscal impact. Other state governmental entities estimate no costs or savings. Local government entities estimate no costs or savings. Amendment 2. Stemming from recent controversy over property tax valuations in Jackson County, Amendment 2 would require all charter counties to have elected assessors. Of Missouri's 5 charter counties, only Jackson County does not have an elected assessor. There are no charter counties in southwest Missouri. As a change to the state's constitution, Amendment 2 requires a statewide vote. The amendment essentially reinforces a county charter amendment overwhelmingly approved by Jackson County voters in November 2025, requiring the county assessor to be an elected position. Shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to require all charter counties, including Jackson County, to provide for the election of a county assessor, and require assessors in all charter counties to comply with any training requirements established by general law? Question. State and local government entities estimate no costs or savings. Amendment 1. August 4th, yes on 1. Preserve state parks, soil, and water is a sign on a front lawn. Signage advocating for a yes on Amendment 1, photo by Ellie Fristak. If passed, Amendment 1 would continue the state's 1/10 cent parks, soil, and water sales tax, which was first approved in 1984 and most recently renewed in 2016 with approximately 80% of the vote. Revenues from the tax support soil and water conservation efforts as well as state parks and historic sites. The ballot language, shall Missouri continue for 10 years the 0.1% sales use tax that is used for soil and water conservation and for state parks and historic sites, and resubmit this tax to the voters for approval in 10 years. The measure also allows continued collection of the existing sales and use tax, which generates revenue of approximately $140 million annually. State legislative primaries. Senate District 20 GOP primary. You have a picture of Missouri State Senator Curtis Trent, Republican District 20, talks with the retired federal air marshal Tom Funk while campaigning for re-election on Friday, July 10th, 2026 in the Jamestown community neighborhood of Rogersville, photo by Jim Wilson. Senator Trent is wearing a pair of blue jeans and a short sleeve shirt with a long sleeve shirt underneath, with Trent and the state of Missouri outlined on the front. And they're standing outside of a garage with a basketball hoop behind them. And Mr. Funk is standing with a pair of gray shorts and a white T-shirt and a tan ball cap. He has a long electrical cord in one hand and a weed whacker in the other, wearing sneakers and a pair of socks, like he's just been doing some yard work. Pictured next to that is Lori Rook, Republican candidate for Senate District 20, going door knocking on Friday, July 10th, 2026 in East Springfield. She is wearing a white T-shirt with the red Lori Rook on front and carrying a pamphlet. She has long blonde hair and wearing blue shorts, and she is outside of a brick house. Lori Rook is challenging incumbent state Senator Curtis Trent in what has become a fiercely contested Republican primary for Senate District 20. Attack ads against both candidates have proliferated in advance of the August 4th primary election. Consisting of Barton, Dade, and Webster counties and Greene County outside Springfield, Senate District 20 is heavily conservative. The Republican nominee will face Democrat Sean Falconer in November. A lawyer by trade, Trent is seeking his second and final four-year term representing Senate District 20 in the General Assembly's upper chamber. He previously represented House District 133 in the Missouri House. While Rook has yet to serve in elected office, she is not new to politics, placing third in the crowded Republican primary for state treasurer in 2024. Rook is also an attorney as the sole owner and managing partner of Ozarks Elder Law. Pictured are Senator Curtis Trent and Lori Rook squaring off in a Republican primary for Senate District 20 on July 16th, 2026. House District 139 GOP primary. For the first time in several elections, multiple Republican candidates are in the race to represent Christian County's House District 139, which encompasses Nixa, Clever, and Billings in the panhandle of Christian County. State Representative Bob Titus, Republican Billings, is vying for re-election. His competitor is Sandy Carnes of Nixa, former chairwoman of the Republican Party's 7th Congressional District. Titus was an insurance agent and business owner for 3 decades before deciding to run for office in 2022. He said his freshman term in the Missouri House of Representatives taught him to align himself with colleagues who have common idealism and quote, the right ambitions. Carnes is a real estate agent and has worked with the local Republican Party, serving as chairwoman for the 7th Congressional District Republican Party and vice chair of the Christian County Republican Central Committee. She said one reason she is running for office is because she saw a need for change and better representation. Pictured is Titus and Carnes, side-by-side photos. Titus is an older gentleman with balding hair and a trim white goatee and unframed glasses. And he is wearing a white polo shirt that says Bob Titus on the embroidered on the top left. And then Carnes is wearing a pink blouse with a small pearl necklace, and she is wearing a more classic style eyeglasses with pearl earrings, and she has medium length blonde hair that she is wearing down. House District 140 GOP primary. Former Springfield City Council member Angelina Romine is challenging State Rep Jamie Cragg in the Republican primary for Christian County's House District 140, encompassing the Ozark area. Cragg was first elected in 2022 and is seeking re-election to serve a third term. He said that if he's reelected, one of his priorities will be a fatherhood bill he sponsored to fund positions at nonprofits aiming to help dads reestablish relationships with their children. Romine, a small business owner and massage therapist, got involved in politics after serving on Springfield City Council from 2021 to 2022. She later vacated her city council seat in February 2022 to challenge State Senator Lincoln Huff in District 30, losing to him in a tight primary. The winner of the August primary will run against Julia Coran, a Democrat from Nixa, in the November election. Former Springfield Council member challenges State Rep Jamie Cragg in Christian County by Zoe McIntyre. These pictures are from the July 16th article. Cragg is wearing a polo shirt with an emblem on the right, top left of that. He has salt and pepper hair that's brushed back and a salt and pepper goatee. She is wearing a red top with a mock turtleneck, and she has long curly brown hair. Both are smiling very brightly. 7th Congressional District GOP primary. In his quest for a third term representing Missouri's 7th Congressional District, U.S. Representative Eric Burleson is facing two Republican challengers in the August 4th primary election, John Casey and Grayson Hunt. The Republican nominee will face Democrat Missy Hesketh and Libertarian Kevin Craig in the November general election. Burleson, 49, previously served in the Missouri General Assembly representing House District 133 and Senate District 20. Hunt, 25, and Casey, 27, are both running for office for the first time. The Daily Citizen asked each candidate to answer in writing the same 5 questions relating to the war in Iran, the cost of living, and the Trump administration's immigration policies. So you can look that up on their website. You can read their responses. The article is called Eric Burleson Faces Two Challengers in GOP Primary for 7th Congressional District by Jack McGee, July 24th, 2026. There is a young gentleman on the left. He is wearing a dark hunter green button-down shirt with a black striped tie. You have Eric in the middle, Mr. Burleson in the middle, and he is wearing a pale blue button-down shirt with dark blue suit jacket, and then the gentleman on the right is wearing the same, similar, with a green and blue striped tie. In countywide offices, you have Greene County Circuit Clerk GOP primary, and the lone primary contest for a countywide office, Shannon Pierce is challenging incumbent Greene County Circuit Clerk Brian Feimster in the Republican primary. With no Democratic candidate filed, the winner will run uncontested in the November general election. First elected in 2022, Feimster is seeking a second 4-year term as circuit clerk. Pierce aims to limit Feimster to 1 term and succeed him in the circuit clerk's office. The office is responsible for processing and maintaining court records, managing the court schedule, and coordinating jury selection, among other administrative tasks. While Feimster is running on his record, Pierce is running against it. Following a multi-year backlog combined with a significant increase in case initiations, Feimster asserts that the circuit clerk's office is in good shape. Pierce argues otherwise and has developed a 90-day action plan to prevent future delays and ensure all cases are prioritized. Pictured is Shannon versus Brian Feimster. Brian is, they are both older gentlemen, and Shannon Pierce is with very short gray hair and a gray beard. He is wearing a blue polo shirt, and he is pictured outside with a tree behind him. Mr. Feimster is in his office wearing a suit coat with with a blue button-down shirt and a red necktie, and he has a very short goatee and no hair on top. Christian County Presiding Commissioner GOP primary, 2 Republican candidates are vying for presiding commissioner in Christian County's August 4th primary election. Jared Taylor, a former state representative, and Terry Bible, a retired Missouri State Highway Patrol trooper. Current presiding commissioner Lynn Morris, 77, did not file for re-election. Bible is a longtime resident of Southwest Missouri with almost 30 years of experience in law enforcement. If he is elected, Bible said he looks forward to helping county employees with incentives and benefits, an area for which he has some different ideas. He said he is always going to try to save our taxpayers' dollars. Taylor moved to Christian County about 20 years ago. He was elected to the Missouri House of Representatives in 2014 and chaired several committees during his 8 years in office. Today, he works for Congressman Eric Burleson. Taylor said one of his priorities for Christian County would be improving transportation, particularly east and west through the county. So you have both gentlemen who look in their 30s and 40s. Brown hair on the left is Jared Taylor, and he has a blue button-down shirt with open collar, and he has his name embroidered on the top left corner. He has short brown hair. He's wearing glasses and has a brown beard. You have the other Terry Bible. He is wearing a pale blue button-down shirt and a fleece vest with embroidery on the top left, and he has very short hair, glasses, and a mustache. Nixa Fire Protection District sales tax. The Nixa Fire Protection District is asking voters to consider a 1% sales tax that would help fund personnel and equipment for the Nixa Fire Protection District. After voters struck down a property tax levy increase for NFPD in November 2025, the district is considering alternative ways to continue funding services for the growing community. Nixa's fire district tax levy was set at 75 cents per $100 evaluation in 2003. The levy rate has been rolled back to just over 69 cents as of 2024, according to the City of Nixa's most recent comprehensive financial report. By statute, RSMO 321.554, the district would be required to roll back its property tax levy by an amount equal to half of the revenue generated by the sales tax if it is approved. You can read more at Nixa Voters Will Consider Sales Tax for Fire District in August Election by Zoe McIntyre, July 27, 2026. The ballot language will read, shall Nixa Fire Protection District be authorized to impose a sales tax of 1% for the purpose of providing revenues for the operation of the district, and the total property tax levy on properties in the district shall be reduced annually by an amount which reduces property tax revenues by an amount equal to 50% of the previous year's revenue collected from this sales tax. Question. State Auditor. In the lone statewide race on the ballot, State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick is opposed by Gerald Jerry Winstrand Jr. in the Republican primary. Fitzpatrick is seeking his second four-year term as state auditor, having previously served as state treasurer and state representative. Quentin Wilson and Gregory Upchurch are competing for the Democratic nomination. In addition to the Republican and Democratic nominees, the November ballot will include Libertarian Dustin Coffell, who is running unopposed in his party's primary. Editors note the story has been updated to include information on the state auditor race. This is by Jack McGee. He is the government affairs reporter at the Springfield Daily Citizen. He previously covered politics and business for the Daily Citizen. He's an MSU graduate with a Bachelor of Science degree in journalism and a minor political science. Reach him at jmcgee@sgfcitizen.org or 417-837-3663. Is also by Zoe McIntyre. Zoe McIntyre covers Springfield surrounding communities like Nixa, Ozark, and Republic. McIntyre is an Evangel University alum and lifelong resident of the Springfield area. Contact her at cmcintyre@sgfcitizen.org. Jack is looks around in his 30s. He has a short brown haircut. He is clean shaven. He has an open collared white button down shirt with a blue suit coat, and he is pictured outside what looks like a school building. And then Zoe is also looks in her 20s or 30s, and she has medium length straight blonde hair wearing glasses, and is also pictured outside, it looks like, on Missouri State campus, and she was wearing a black blouse with the button open so you can see her necklace underneath.
This from the Springfield News Leader. Text to 911 outage planned as Boone County upgrades network. Boone County's residents will temporarily lose access to text to 911 service beginning August 5th as emergency communication officials transition to a new 911 network. The outage is expected to continue until September 1st, according to a community announcement from Boone County Joint Commissioner. During that period, people will still be able to reach emergency dispatchers by calling 911, which officials said an announcement remains the primary and preferred method for requesting emergency assistance. Anyone who attempts to send a text message to 911 while the service is unavailable will receive an automatic response explaining that text to 911 is temporarily out of service and directing them to place a voice call instead. Boone County Joint Commissioner said in an announcement that the interruption is tied to its move to a next generation 911 emergency service IP network known as ESINet. Upgrade aims to modernize 911 infrastructure. The agency said in an announcement that the network transition is required to complete the implementation of the new system. According to the announcement, the upgraded network is expected to provide a more reliable and resilient foundation for emergency communication while supporting future next-generation 911 capabilities. Officials described the outage as a planned part of the migration progress and said that voice calls to 911 will continue operating without interruption throughout the transition. Public updates planned if schedule changes. Additional information will be provided if the anticipated September 1st restoration date changes, according to the announcement. The next one is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Former social worker and husband charged with child abuse, neglect in Webster County. It says Amanda and Jason Acree of Rogersville are both charged with 8 counts of abuse or neglect of a child. That's 1 felony charge for each of the 8 children authorities say were in the couple's custody. There's a picture here of the police car with the blue lights. A Rogersville woman, a former social worker turned foster and adoptive mother, had been charged with multiple counts of abuse or neglect of a child. Amanda Lynn Acree, born in 1986, is charged with 8 counts of a Class D felony of abuse and neglect of a child. That's 1 count for each child investigators say are in her and her husband's custody. Her husband, Jason Acree, 44, is facing the same charges. He has been arrested and remains in custody at the Webster County Jail on a $10,000 bond. The charges come after a Webster County deputy and children's division worker allegedly found the Acree home in Rogersville in very dirty and messy conditions on June 15th with animal feces and urine in several of the children's rooms and beds. According to the probable cause statement, children's division workers have done several investigations at the Acree home in the past, but the worker had not checked the back of the house where the children lived prior to the June 15th visit. A Webster County judge granted a warrant for Amanda Acree's arrest on Wednesday, June 24th. Amanda Acree was not home when the deputy in children's division visited the Rogersville residence earlier this month, according to the probable cause statement. Jason Acree was home and told the investigators that Amanda Acree had left 2 weeks ago with some of their children to go to North Carolina to find a new home. Says Dad, messy home is due to packing. According to the statement, Jason Acree allegedly attempted to explain the messy home by telling investigators that the family was in the process of packing and that he intended to hire a moving company to help and the rest of the family move to North Carolina. The 5 children who were at the Rogersville residence on June 15th were taken into Children's Division custody. The publicly available charge documents do not disclose where the remaining children in the Acree custody are located. According to the probable cause statement, the Webster County Sheriff's Office was contacted by a Children's Division worker on June 15, asking for assistance with an investigation of a dirty house. A deputy contacted the CD worker who told the deputy that there had been several investigations done at the residence in the past. Once I got to the door of the residence, I was immediately hit by a foul odor of rotten food and the smell of cat feces, the deputy wrote, adding that there were a lot of packing boxes cluttered at the door, which made it hard to enter through the front door. Jason showed us the kitchen. I noticed empty food containers and trash scattered all around the counter. I also saw trash covering the floor of the kitchen. Deputy allegedly finds animal feces on the kids' beds. The deputy went on to describe conditions in the laundry room as having full trash bags full of molding trash lying on the floor, along with dirty clothes and towels. The deputy described one of the bedrooms where some of the children slept as having trash on the floor and on the dresser and stains covering the beds. In a probable cause statement, the deputy described finding multiple beds where the children slept with animal feces and urine on them, as well as on the floor. In another bedroom, the deputy said he had to walk over a diaper which was filled with human poop and pee, which was lying in the middle of the floor. The deputy also described the basement as also having animal feces and urine all over the floor. The deputy noted in the report that Jason Acree's bedroom was in imminent condition compared to the rest of the house, with no trash or found odor. Amanda Acree seriously injured in 2020. Jason Acree spoke with News Leader in 2020 after Amanda Acree had been seriously injured in a one-vehicle accident in Springfield. The 34-year Amanda Acree had suffered a broken wrist and ankle, shattered femur, and broken ribs. Her right leg was amputated. Jason Acree told the report in 2020 that Amanda Acree was a licensed social worker and counselor who had worked for Children's Division for about 6 years. Jason Acree said Amanda Acree opened the now-defunct Thrive Family Support Service, a private practice counseling office in Marshville in 2017, according to the 2020 News Leader article. Department of Social Services documents show Thrive Family Support Service had an office in South Springfield in 2025. At the time of the crash, the Acree had 8 children in their home, then ages 1 through 14. Of those, 1 was Amanda's biological child, 3 were adopted, and 4 were siblings who at the time were in foster care. Also at the time, the couple was in the process of taking in another baby. Any identifying information about the children who were in the home when the Children's Division worker and deputy visited early this month is redacted in the charging documents.
This is from the Springfield Business Journal. We have owners Nick St. George is ready to serve donut lovers at his newest location. He is standing behind the glass cases filled with donuts of every shape and size and flavor. There is art on the wall of a coffee cup being the water tower that says St. George Donuts Nixa, and donut flowers basically on the wall. And behind him is the St. George Donuts logo, with a cartoon chef standing next to the lettering. Donut Company expands to Nixa by Mike Cullinan, reporter, posted online August 3rd, 2026. More than 40 years after closing a shop in Nixa, St. George's Donuts is back in town. Today is opening day for the Donuts Company's newest location, which is at 701 North McCroskey Street, Suite 6. The 1,300 square foot shop in Village Marketplace is owned by Nick St. George, who also owns company stores in 3628 East Sunshine Street in Springfield and 1415 West State Highway J in Ozark. The St. George family began St. George's Donuts in Springfield in 1971 and has since expanded the business to 5 locations. A Nixa shop was temporarily open in Nixa during the 1980s, but shuttered following the death of family patriarch Charles St. George in 1985, according to company officials. According to a news release, the family's roots to Nixa extend before the 20th century. The McCullough-Wasson family line, which stretches back to 1890 and includes descendants of the St. George family, continue to gather at local reunions to this day. Nixa has always held a special place in our family's story, Nick said in the release. My parents brought St. George's here in the 1980s, and even though that chapter was short, this town never left our hearts. Coming back and opening our doors on McCroskey Street means everything to us. It's not just a new shop, it's coming home. Nick previously told Springfield Business Journal that Nick says a nice growing community, and he liked the store's location along Highway 160. He declined to disclose startup costs and the lease rate with Village Marketplace landlord Jared Commercial and Management LLC. Nick said the lease runs 5 years and has 2 5-year options. The new St. George's Donuts is the latest tenant in the shopping center, joining another recent entry, Papo's Pizzeria and Pub, which opened in mid-May, according to past SBJ reporting. Declining to comment on any future St. George's locations, Nick said he does have plans to eventually expand the East Sunshine Street store in space formerly occupied by Lloyd's Dry Cleaners, LLC. St. George's officials say a drive-through is initially planned for the space, which could be operational as soon as October. Aside from the stores owned by Nick St. George, the company's 2 other locations, one on South National Avenue in Springfield and another on Spur Drive in Marshfield, are separately owned by 2 of his brothers, according to past SBJ reporting.
This is the Springfield News Leader. More people going hungry in the Ozarks. Imagine you're at work or school and lunchtime rolls around. You forgot your lunch at home or didn't bring it, and now it's hard to concentrate over the pain in your stomach. You've pushed through the physical sensation, but you're tired and irritated, snapping at your colleagues or classmates for small things. You don't know the next time you'll be able to eat. In 2024, that was the reality for 1 in 4 children and 1 in 5 adults across Ozark Foods Harvest, Southwest Missouri service area, according to Feeding America's latest Map the Meal Gap study. The study found that food insecurity rates have increased in the Ozarks for both children and adults, and OFH is reporting that it needs more meals yearly to make sure people have enough food. Food insecurity is not a distant problem. It is present in every community in the Southwest Missouri, said Bart Brown, president and CEO of Ozark Food Harvest, in a news release. This study helps us understand the difficult choices families have to make, especially as grocery, housing, and child care costs remain high. About 214,000 people, including 62,000 children, dealt with food insecurity in 2024 across Ozark's Food Harvest, Southwest Missouri service area. OFH indicates in the last 3 years, the meal gap has widened by 50%, with the area now needing 40 million meals annually to ensure Ozarks are fed. With the increased need for food, OFH is asking for help from the community. While there are many ways to lend a hand, monetary donations and volunteers are 2 of the most impactful options. The reasons we say monetary donations over donating food is that we have such an extensive warehouse and we have this fleet of trucks that's going out every day. So not only can we get food at a much cheaper rate than the average person, but we can also distribute that much more efficiently than the average person, said Jordan Browning, Director of Communications for OFH. With the food we get donated, we have to sort through all that. Volunteers are helping us sort through more than 100,000 pounds of produce every week to make sure it go out the door the same week. Browning said volunteers are crucial for sorting throughout donations, which otherwise would require about 15 full-time employees to manage. Grocery cost funding changes can make it harder to eat. Food insecurity is when a household doesn't have enough to eat and don't know where their next meal is coming from. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, food security can impact the way people live a healthy and active life. Hunger can negatively impact people's mental health, and it can make it harder to show up to work or school work consistently. People who experience food insecurity might feel isolated or ashamed. Rural communities tend to have the highest food insecurity rates due to fewer food pantries and meal programs. Those communities also face barriers when it comes to reaching grocery stores. Transportation may be hard to come by, and the only grocery store could be far away. When stores are accessible, cost can be yet another barrier. Food prices in Southwest Missouri have increased by 20% over the last 5 years, according to OFH. The recent map, the Meal Gap, found that about half of the people experiencing food insecurity across the country have incomes that are too high to qualify for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Last year, even those who qualified for SNAP couldn't rely on the program when the federal government shut down. Leading up to November, President Donald Trump's administration initially refused to fund SNAP. A court ruling required partial payments to about 42 million Americans, and the government shutdown came to an end on November 12th. But for more than a month, nearly 650,000 Missourians had to worry about their next meal. Ozark Food Harvest is anticipating more challenges in the coming year, particularly because the administration costs for SNAP will soon be split different between the state and federal government, Browning said. In the past, the two shared the costs evenly. Due to changes that happened last year, Missouri is now going to have to pay 75%, and the federal government is going to have to pay 25%, Browning said. What that means is that the state is going to have to find somewhere north of $25 million to operate the program as it's done today. A shortfall in funds would affect how many people that the program can serve.
This is from Ozarks First, The Cost of Being a Sports Fan, Why Watching the Game Isn't So Simple Anymore, by Madeline Durst. Posted August 3rd, 2026. There was once a time when cable covered nearly every major sporting event, from weekly NFL games to the Olympics. You could count on having access to any and all sports content you desired, typically for one flat fee. Now, in this era of streaming services, it has never been more complicated to catch a game or event. Sports leagues are aggressively transitioning from being offered on traditional cable television to selling media rights directly to streaming platforms, such as Prime Video, Peacock, ESPN Plus, Apple TV, Paramount Plus, Netflix, and more. While this may be generating more revenue for the leagues, it is outpricing many fans. Along with pricing out fans, it has become extremely confusing to figure out where to watch the game you are looking for. It never tends to stay the same for a full season either. One week your team may be featured on ESPN, then the next is on Paramount Plus, then a special holiday game is on Netflix. It is very hard for fans to figure out how to tune in. Let's take the NFL, for example. If you're an avid football fan, you may want to squeeze in as many games as you can during the season. To do so, here are all the streaming services you would need to have a subscription to. Service, Paramount Plus, lowest monthly cost, $8.99 per month. Why you need it, CBS Games. Fox One, $19.99 per month. Why you need it, Fox Games. Or CBS Games was Paramount Plus, Fox Games is Fox One. Service Peacock Premium, lowest monthly cost, $10.99 per month. Why you need it, Sunday Night Football and Peacock exclusives. Service ESPN standalone streaming is $29.99 per month. Why you need it, Monday Night Football. Service Amazon Prime Video, $14.99 per month. Why you need it, Thursday Night Football. Service Netflix Standard with ads, $7.99 per month. Why you need it, Christmas Day and other exclusive games. Service NFL Plus, lowest monthly cost is $14.99 per month. Why you need it, NFL Network games, replays, and mobile viewing. Service NFL Sunday Ticket, lowest monthly cost starting around $378 per season, roughly $95 per month for the duration of the NFL season. Why you need it, every out-of-market Sunday afternoon game. If you haven't done the math already, that is roughly $205.93 each month to be able to fully watch the NFL. Since the season lasts 4 months, you'd be paying $823.72 overall. On top of it all, this is spread across 8 different streaming services. While we use the NFL for example, they are not the only league with this issue. To watch every sport from MLB to WWE, it has become the expectation that you will need multiple streaming services to fully tune in. The streaming era was supposed to give fans more options, but for many, it has created more confusion and more bills. As sports continue to chase bigger media deals, fans are left wondering how much they are willing to pay before watching the game simply becomes too expensive.
This is from the 417. A guide to back-to-school season in the Ozarks. A little girl here getting ready to get on the school bus, wearing a little yellow short-sleeve shirt and some jeans. She's got long brown hair with a pretty smile. Whether you're sending a kindergartner to school for the very first time, helping a teen prepare for their final year, or navigating your first back-to-school season as a Springfieldian, there's a lot to keep track of. From district calendars and school supply lists to the after-school activities, family routines, and everything in between, this guide brings together all the local information 417 Land parents need in one place. Book it, bookmark it, then come back each July or August. We'll update this with the latest dates, resources, and tips to help your family start school in the year in Springfield's ultra prepared. So the 2026 first day of school by district: Springfield Public Schools, August 25th. Nixa Public Schools, the 25th. Ozarks Public School is the 25th. Republic School District is the 25th. Willits Public School District is August 24th. Logan Rogersville School District is August 25th. Branson's Public School is August 26th. Marshville's School is August 24th. And Stratford's School is August 24th. Health and Prep, school and sports physicals. Many schools require annual physicals, particularly for students, athletes, and older children. This is something you can schedule with your primary care provider, but several local community health centers also offer walk-in back-to-school clinics with no appointment necessary. These clinics are extremely popular, so arrive early, triple check that you have all your required documents in order. Similarly, if you plan to go through your primary care provider for a physical, book your appointment weeks ahead of school or practice starting. Wait times may be as long as 6 to 8 weeks, so consider booking your appointments as soon as summer starts. Jordan Valley Community Health Center back-to-school events at multiple locations across 417 Land throughout August. Pre-register by July 30th. Mercy offers free sports physicals at different family clinics throughout the summer. Watch their blog or social media pages for specific details. Cox Health Care Mobile, a pediatric clinic on wheels. The Care Mobile regularly visits Springfield Public Schools to provide basic health needs. Check with your school to find out the schedule. In addition, the Care Mobile typically hosts walk-in hours at one of the Cox Health locations in a couple of weeks leading up to school start in August. Springfield Public School Back-to-School Bash. Springfield Public School students and families can pre-register for free sports physicals at this free event, providing a number of other back-to-school resources on July 25th. Immunizations and vaccine requirements. Springfield area schools, including Branson and other surrounding communities, follow Missouri's Department of Health and Senior Services guidelines and requirements. Families may file religious or medical exemptions for some of all vaccines, but each doctor and hospital handles this differently. For example, Springfield Greene County Health issues only medical exemptions. In most cases, parents can get required immunizations back to school clinics without an appointment. Springfield Greene County Health also provides immunizations to uninsured and underinsured children, as well as American Indian or Alaska Native children through its Vaccines for Children program. Eye exam and screenings. Experts recommend yearly vision screenings for children, so it makes sense to make this back-to-school appointment. Vision insurance varies widely, so in this case, it's best to start with in-network providers, if that's an option. If not, contact local optometrists and vision clinics. While they generally don't offer walk-in events, some do extend back-to-school discounts on exams and, if necessary, glasses. Just ask when you make the appointment. Jordan Valley also provides vision screenings as its back-to-school events. Pediatric and urgent care options for last-minute needs. If you're not able to get an appointment with your primary care provider for a physical or screening, there are still options. Most pediatric office and clinics, as well as pediatric urgent care, offers these services, physicals often with little notice. Check the office's social media pages or call to confirm, but many events offer walk-in physicals around back-to-school time.
My Big Fat Greek Night at Greek Belly in Springfield. If you haven't been to the Greek Night event at Greek Belly, you're missing out on a vibrant cultural celebration filled with just as much fun as good food by Katie Pollock Estes in the 417 magazine. Pictured is a whole array of different Greek foods. You've got feta-covered fries with green onions. You've got pita pockets for dip in a dip. You've got Greek salad. You've got shish kebabs and fries and pita with different sauces on another plate. When a meal ends with the sounds of peeling, laughter, and shattering ceramic as a restaurant's worth of diners rise to their feet to throw plates to the ground, you know it's been a joyous and slightly raucous night. The breaking of plates tradition is how Greek Belly ends their famously fun My Big Fat Greek Night events. It's the final burst of a growing energy that builds throughout the evening. The table is full at Greek Belly with the Prometheus feast, pita wraps, feta fries, drunken dip, and the city Greek salad. Of course, it all begins with food. Throughout 4 courses, guests try the best of owner John Sarchidis' Greek fare, from a family-style appetizer platter, dolmades, halloumi, spanakopita, and more, to a Greek salad entree of your choice with options like moussaka and a variety of skewers and dessert. As the food rolls out, so does the entertainment. A belly dancer weaves her way throughout the eatery, interacting with guests as she goes and even inviting some of their feet to learn her signature moves. It's close quarters inside Greek Belly's tiny restaurant space, which shrinks a little more as servers squeeze through with their plates after plate of food, and the belly dancer twirls her energy around every table. And that just adds to the communal experience. Elbow to elbow, your fellow diners begin to feel like your neighbors by the end of the night, which is capped with those breaking plates and shouts of "Oppa!" We've seen My Big Fat Greek Night events pop up on Greek Belly's calendar sporadically. They've taken place here and there all throughout the year in the past. The best way to make sure it lands on your own agenda is to follow Greek Belly on Facebook, where they post event information. We promise you it's worth the effort of hunting it down. Pictured are 2 people enjoying the Greek Belly feast, 2 looks like friends having a very lovely time together.
This is from the 417, family-friendly weekend road trips from Springfield. First up, we have a picture here with 2 kids in the back seat, one arm out the window, the other girl got her arm out the window, and the gentleman's taking a picture of him. She's got on, the little girl in the back has on a striped yellow and blue shirt, short sleeve. The little girl in the front has on a powder blue shirt, short sleeve. The gentleman has short black hair with the camera in the front seat, smiles on their faces. First up, we have Bentonville, Arkansas, 97 miles from Springfield, 2 hours. Bentonville checks all the proverbial boxes for an easy escape with thriving art, outdoor and foods and scenes, and plenty of free attractions. Exhibit A, the free world-class Crystal Bridge Museum of American Art, a few minutes away. The Monetary Learns Contemporary with rotary exhibits, outdoor installations, and occasional concerts, some free, some ticketed. Downtown, the Walmart Museum is more engaging than you might expect. The kids love the retro candy and Walton's 5 and 10. Outdoors, Wonder Osage Park, where floating boardwalks wind through wetlands next to the Tatum Field. You can also play pickleball, fish, or paddle Lake Bentonville, and let your pup run off some energy in the dog park. Plus, watch planes take off and land. For an easy hike or bike ride, head to Cola Mountain Bike Preserve. About a mile in, you'll come across the one-of-the-kind open-air airship coffee, which you can't reach any other way. Pit stop. Stop for a pick-me-up in Tiny Monette at Chambia Pan. This El Salvadorian bakery serves fresh pan dulce, perpas, oversized cookies, and strong coffee served in fun can-style cups. Where to stay? Short-term rentals are everywhere in Bentonville and make a strong case for families with more space, a kitchen, and a room to spread out. If you prefer a hotel, 21C Museum Hotel blends art and design with spacious rooms and a walk-to-everything location. And you got Ponca, Arkansas. Deep in the heart of the Ozarks, Ponca is a perfect for outdoorsy, active families. Here, kids and, heck, adults trade scenes for river shoes, campfire sticks without hesitation. This main attraction is the Buffalo River, but it certainly isn't the only one. Families can choose their own level of adventure by booking a boat or rafting trip with the Buffalo River Outdoor Center. Options vary from a few hours to multiple nights on the river, and the company also offers a zip line billed as Arkansas's only wilderness zip line experience. On land, hike Lost Valley Trail, an easy family-friendly favorite leading to waterfalls, bluff shelters, and even a cave. For older kids or more experienced little hikers, the trek to Hammond Hollow Falls pays off with the towering 200-foot waterfall said to be the tallest between the Rockies and Appalachians. Keep your eyes open for elk and more elusive black bears while you're out. Pit stop. This is the perfect excuse to stop. A Swan Valley Brew Company in Forsyth, a laid-back mix of coffee shops and flea markets where you can browse, sip, and stretch your legs. Where to stay? Buffalo River Outdoor Center has a number of cabins throughout the area, accommodating everything from couples to groups of 12. There's also an RV park with loads of amenities, or you can opt out for one of the National Park's more rustic river campgrounds. Then you have Kansas City, 165 miles, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Big, perennials, busy, and packed with options. Kansas City is a go-to getaway for Springfield families. Union Station is the perfect jumping-off point where the incredibly intricate model train gallery alone can hold attention, both kids and parents, for longer than you'd expect. Right around the corner, Crown Center is a destination in its own rights. Legoland Discovery Center, Sea Life Kansas City Aquarium, and beloved French Railroad Restaurant. The name is literal. A miniature train system runs along tracks overhead, delivering burgers, fries, and milkshakes to each table. From there, head to the interactive college basketball experience. Even non-fans get pulled in, thanks to shooting challenges, time drills, and fully body exhibits that make it feel more game-like than a museum. Pit stop, just about halfway, stop at the Osceola Cheese Company. Sample one of the nearly 300 cheese alongside wild game jerky and sausage. Browse the gift shop just across the street. The Amish Trading Post is also worth a stop. Pro tips, bring a cooler for all your goodies. Where to stay? For a built-in itinerary, book a night or two at the Great Wolf Lodge, Kansas City. The indoor water park is, of course, the main draw, but extras like an arcade, themed suites, and family dance parties means you won't need to plan much beyond showing up. And we have Tulsa. It's 180 miles from Springfield, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Set along Route 66, Tulsa delivers an easy but rewarding weekend with just enough quirk to keep both kids and parents engaged. The city Arts Deco architect gives downtown a distinct personality, and the fast-growing, surprisingly dynamic food scene means you won't be stuck with chicken tenders, though you'll find those in all sorts of iterations too. The Gathering Place, a massive park along the Arkansas River, should be high on your list. Kids can climb, slide, splash through the 5-acre Chapman Adventure Playground, while parents will appreciate the gardens, walking paths, and on-site dining. There's even free boat rentals and a skate park. For families with older kids who can comprehend the historical significance, carve out time for the Greenwood Historic District, once known as the Black Wall Street. This neighborhood tells the powerful story of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Today, it's a vibrant art and cultural hub. Your pit stop? Get your fill of classic roadside kicks at the Blue Whale of Catoosa, the Golden Drill statue, and the Black Adams Cosmic Curios. Two 20-foot-tall cowboy muffler men statues, Buck and Stella Adam, stand sentinel outside Buck's Acorn, and the surrounding Meadow Gold District provides endless photo ops. Where to stay? Ideally located in the Greenwood District and with several value perks, the Holiday Inn Express and Suites Tulsa Downtown is a top choice for families. Walk to almost anything and enjoy free breakfast and parking plus an indoor pool. Then you have St. Louis, 215 miles from Springfield, 3 hours and 15 minutes. Want maximum payoff with minimal planning? St. Louis delivers. You could spend an entire weekend bouncing between icons and major attractions, many of them free, starting with Forest Park. Here, the spectacular St. Louis Zoo, St. Louis Art Museum, Missouri Historic Museum, all are easy to mix and match, and yes, free. From there, head downtown to the Gateway Arch, whether you ride to the top or just let the kids run around the base. Either way, you don't skip the museum and gift shops, both robust and immersive. Speaking of immersive, the city's museum is in a category of its own. It's a misnomer, more playground, and an illustration with tunnels, slides, climbable structures that reward curiosity and admirably a little bit of bravery. Sports fans can also catch a game at most of the year, whether it's the Cardinals, Blues, or the City SC. Food is also part of the experience. In the Lou, wander the hill for Italian bakeries, markets, and St. Louis-style pizza, classic barbecue spots like Pappy's Smokehouse and Stella's Hog deliver different takes on the city's signature food. Your pit stop, stretch your legs in Cuba, a classic Route 66 town with 15 detailed murals. Grab a map at the visitor center. Just down the road, snap a photo in front of the Route 66 Red Rocker, a 42-foot roadside attraction that once held the title of the world's largest rocking chair. Where to stop? Drury Inn and Suites St. Louis Union Station puts you steps from Union Station, worth visiting for its soaring Grand Hall, aquarium, and Ferris wheel, plus the free perks, hot breakfast, and an evening kickback with snacks and drinks. Go along with the family. Alternatively, Hampton Inn and Suites St. Louis at Forest Park puts you close to the zoo and museums. Last, we have Topeka, Kansas, 220 miles from Springfield, 3.5 hours. It's easy to understand Topeka, which is exactly why it works so well as a family weekend. What you'll find is a capital city packed with unexpected engaging stops, lean equal parts educational and fun. Start at Gate Park, home of the Topeka Zoo, a mini train, vintage 1908 carousel, and Kansas Children's Discovery Center. Kids can climb, build, dig, and explore indoor exhibits and a sprawling outdoor play area. The veterinary clinic is a standout as a traveling exhibit. During our last visit, there was a live bee exhibit with daily demos. The Kansas Museum of History is excellent also, showcasing the state's colorful history with the function era, a frontier era covered wagon, authentic Cheyenne teepee, 1880s train, and complete 1950 diner. Pit stops, turn of the century, Deanna Rose Children's Farmstead in Overland Park, Kansas, southwest of Kansas City, offers a quintessential farm experience. Pet cute animals, bottle feed baby goats, fish from a pond with a cane pool, watch a blacksmith demonstration, and more. Where to stay? Most of Topeka's hotel offers are on the west side, clustered along I-70 and 470. Many come with family-friendly amenities like complimentary breakfast or all-suite rooms.
We are broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store, the world's first retail store to use NaviLens to help navigate and inform blind and visually impaired individuals while shopping with little to no assistance. For more information, visit our website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. SBJ, Springfield Business Journal, and the Amazon to return some of tariff refund to customers, posted online August 3rd. Amazon intends to return some of its tariff refund to customers. The company received some $600 million in refunds. Refund proceeds will be issued when Amazon was the importer of record for goods. And there is more here on the Hill by Sarah Davis. Amazon said this week that it received hundreds of millions of dollars in refunds from President Trump's tariffs and pledged to return some of the profits to its customers. This follows a Supreme Court decision earlier this year that many of the Trump administration's tariffs were illegal, prompting the U.S. government to start a process to refund billions of dollars in import taxes to affected companies. Brian Olsavsky, the chief financial officer of Amazon.com Inc., said during a Thursday earnings call that the company is participating in the tariff refund process and received an amount of $600 million in its second financial quarter. Olsavsky noted that the company worked on the front end to avoid tariff costs and noted that the Amazon is not the importer of record for the large majority of items sold in our store. In cases where we did see an increase in costs due to tariffs, we largely absorbed these costs rather than pass them on to customers, he said on the call. The Amazon executive said the company has identified a limited set of circumstances in which customers were impacted by these hiked costs. When we receive those funds, we will proactively contact affected customers and automatically issue refunds to them, Olsavsky said. The Supreme Court's 6-3 ruling in February struck down the bulk of Trump's tariffs, which have become a cornerstone of his administration's economic bargaining strategy. The High Court's decision did not specify how the refund process should work, leaving this decision up to the lower courts. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection began processing refund claims from businesses worth around a claim total of $166 billion following this ruling. Other major companies that sought refund payouts include Ford, General Motors, Apple, Walmart, and UPS. In an interview with CNBC's Squawk Box in April, Trump said he would remember the U.S. companies that did not file for tariff refunds. If they don't do that, I will remember them. I'll tell you that, Trump said at the time. Because I'm looking to make this country strong. Supreme Court could have helped us.
This is the Springfield News Leader. So we got beat reporters reveal their 2026 Conference USA football preseason rankings. There's a gentleman here from Missouri State head coach Casey Woods talking quarterback battle. For the second consecutive season, Conference USA did not conduct a preseason media poll. They opted to go with the Bowl Confidence Index, which includes 20 voting members of sports information directors and media representatives. Because preseason polls are so fun, a group of 10 Conference USA beat reporters came together to give their preseason poll. Last year, Kennesaw State hosted the CUSA Championship. The Owls was picked last in the media poll a season ago. Anything can happen in this conference, which is why this league is always fun to watch. Here are the top 10 reporters that contributed to this year's poll and how they voted. Kevin Barrow, Sports Illustrated, G5 Football Daily from Florida International. Nick Coppola, Las Cruces Sun News from New Mexico State. Maxwell Donaldson and Gadsden Times from Jacksonville State. Colton Forster from Huntsville Item, Sam Houston State. Bryson Gordon from Lynchburg News and Advance from Liberty. A.J. Howard, Hoot State from Kennesaw State. Cecil Joyce, Murfreesboro Daily News Journal from Middle Tennessee. Liam Keaton, Springfield News Leader from Missouri State. Jeff Nations, Bowling Green Daily News from Western Kentucky. And Kevin Tressolini, Delaware News Journal from Delaware. 2026 Conference USA Football Preseason Media Poll. 4 first-place votes. Liberty got 89. 2, West Kentucky, 87. Jacksonville State got 85. They ranked for third. Kennesaw State got voted for first with 72. Delaware, 62 votes. Florida International got 51. Missouri State, number 32. New Mexico State, 31. Middle Tennessee State, 28. And Sam Houston State, 13. Individual ballots. Kevin Barrow, Sports Illustrated, G5 Football Daily. He got Liberty at number 1, Western Kentucky at number 2, Jacksonville State coming in 3rd, Florida International in 4th, Kennesaw State 5th, Delaware in 6th, New Mexico State in 7th, Missouri State coming 8th, Middle Tennessee State 9th, and Sam Houston State 10th. Nith Kapala, he has Western Kentucky in 1st, Jacksonville State 2nd, Liberty 3rd, Delaware in 4th, Kennesaw State 5th, Florida International in 6th, New Mexico State 7th, Missouri State 8th, Middle Tennessee State 9th, and Sam Houston State in 10th. Maxwell Donaldson, he has Jacksonville State 1st, Kennesaw State in 2nd, Western Kentucky's 3rd, Florida's International 4th, Liberty's 5th, Delaware 6th, New Mexico State 7th, Middle Tennessee State 8th, Missouri State 9th, Sam Houston State 10th. Colton Forster, he has Jacksonville State 1st, Liberty 2nd, Western Kentucky in 3rd, Kennesaw State 4th, Delaware 5th, Florida Internationals in 6th, Sam Houston 7th, Missouri State 8th, New Mexico State 9th, Middle Tennessee State 10th. Brian Gordon has Jacksonville State 1st, Western Kentucky in 2nd, Liberty in 3rd, Delaware in 4th, Kennesaw State in 5th, Florida International 6th, New Mexico in 7th, Middle Tennessee State 8th, Missouri State 9th, Sam Houston 10th. A.J. Howard Hoot State has Kennesaw State 1st, Liberty 2nd, Western Kentucky 3rd, Jacksonville State 4th, Delaware is in 5th, FIU in 6th, Missouri State 7th, Middle Tennessee State 8th, New Mexico State 9th, and Sam Houston 10th. Cecil Joyce has West Kentucky 1st, Liberty 2nd, Jacksonville in 3rd, Kennesaw State 4th, Delaware 5th, Middle Tennessee 6th, Florida International 7th, Missouri State 8th, New Mexico 9th, and Sam Houston State 10th. Liam Keaton got Liberty 1st, Western Kentucky 2nd, Delaware in 3rd, Jacksonville State in 4th, Missouri State 5th, Kennesaw State 6th, Florida International 7th, Middle Tennessee State 8th, New Mexico State 9th, and Sam Houston 10th. Jeff Nations has Liberty 1st, Kennesaw State 2nd, Jacksonville State 3rd, Western Kentucky 4th, Delaware 5th, Florida International in 6th, Missouri State 7th, Middle Tennessee State 8th, New Mexico State 9th, Sam Houston State 10th. Last, Kevin Tressolini has Liberty State 1st, Western Kentucky 2nd, Jacksonville State 3rd, Kennesaw State 4th, Delaware 5th, New Mexico State 6th, Florida International 7th, Middle Tennessee State 8th, Missouri State 9th, and Sam Houston State 10th.
This is from the Springfield Business Journal. Pictured are several Cedarwood tenants, including Celestine Williams on the left, leading a news conference during the morning of August 3rd. She is standing behind a podium. The signs, they're at downtown Springfield at the square with the waterfall behind them, water feature behind them. People Over Profit is on the podium, and then several signs include things like Safe Homes, Tenants, Stronger Together. Right to Counsel Saves Lives. Judge grants preliminary injunction for Cedarwood Rosewood residents by Jeff Pickle. A Greene County judge has granted a preliminary injunction to prevent the eviction of low-income residents at 2 Springfield properties. The 18-page preliminary injunction order was filed July 28th in Greene County Circuit Court in the case of Ramona Teeter et al. V. Zimmerman Properties, LLC et al. Developers and defendants Mitch and Amanda Jenkins, who also are the founders of mixed-use development company Elevation Enterprises, LLC, led the purchase of Rosewood and Cedarwood in February 2024 through the entities Cedarwood Terrace, LLC, and 604-1120 Sunset, LLC. According to past reporting, Rosewood Estates is now the Villas on Sunset, 604-1120 East Sunset Street, while Cedarwood Terrace is now Pickwick Place, 2244 North Cedarwood Lane. The developers aim to convert the properties from the Federal Low-Income Housing Tax Credit, or LIHTC program, into upscale senior housing units, according to past reporting. Springfield Business Journal is seeking comment from the Jenkinses and their attorney. Tenants applaud. Residents of Rosewood and Cedarwood were joined the morning of August 3rd to celebrate the preliminary injunction. Cedarwood tenant Celestine Williams, who is one of the named plaintiffs in court and a member of a tenants union covering the two properties, Rosewood Cedarwood Tenant Union, a chapter of Springfield Tenants Unite, said the case is bigger than just Springfield. We are people with rights and dignity, she said. Our story is Springfield's story. Our story is America's story. Sydney Ragsdale is an attorney with the Kansas City-based Heartland Center for Jobs and Freedom, which is representing the tenants in court. She said the previous owners of the properties quietly removed low-income housing tax credit protections. Had tenants been notified as agreed, they would have had a chance to find a preservation buyer to keep their homes affordable and their communities intact, Ragsdale said. But they were robbed of that chance because they didn't learn their homes were at risk until the sale was completed and the time for finding a preservation buyer had passed. After that, the tenants worked to form a union, said Ragsdale. She noted that Heartland Center for Jobs and Freedom had never taken a case outside of Kansas City before. Additional court info. Greene County Circuit Judge Joshua B. Christensen found the plaintiffs met the preliminary injunction standard according to the court filing. The ruling states low-income residents must not be evicted unless good cause exists under Section 42 of the Internal Revenue Code, the section of federal law governing low-income housing credits, according to the website of the U.S. House of Representatives. The ruling also prohibits rent increases of more than 7% annually or otherwise not permitted under the code. According to the court filing, the plaintiffs and defendants offered competing interpretations of the Missouri Merchandising Practices Act. Christensen rejected aspects of each argument before ultimately applying Missouri's traditional preliminary injunction analysis. This court is compelled to conclude that the public interest weighs heavily in the favor of plaintiffs, the filing reads. According to past Springfield Business Journal reporting, a jury trial is scheduled to begin on April 26, 2027, with an alternate trial setting of August 23, 2027. The plaintiffs in July sought a motion for class action certification, according to past reporting. In that motion, the low-income residents are asking for certification of two classes, described as the affordability class and the lease renewal declaratory relief class, and for them to serve as the class representatives. Christensen has not yet made a ruling on the motion for class action certification, Missouri online court records show.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Answer man. Rita wants to know if Jefferson Avenue footbridge will be open in his lifetime. There's a picture here of the Jefferson Avenue bridge on Commercial Street. It's been under construction since June of 2025. It's the white bridge, and then there's the rail cart that has three red carts and a couple of blue ones. And then there's construction sign. Answer man. Either early this summer there was a great fanfare celebrating the reopening of Jefferson Avenue footbridge on Commercial Street. Since then, at least to this uneducated observer, there doesn't appear to have been great progress towards really opening this treasure of the North Side. I spent a lot of time with my father on this bridge as a kid and would like to cross it once more while still on the mortal coil. Any chance of that happening? Mike Majors of Springfield? That's hard for me to answer, Mike. I need access to your medical records to estimate how much time you've got. That thing about mortal coil made me wonder how old Mike is. It made me imagine him as a centurion. So I asked. He's 70. Heck, that's 3 years younger than I am. I like to think I've got a lot of coil left, even if it's rusted. What can I relate to you, Mike, is what Cora Scott, spokesperson for the city, said when I asked her when the footbridge will reopen. The footbridge should be complete this fall, she wrote via text. I know what you're thinking, Mike. When exactly is the fall? It starts this evening on Tuesday, September 22nd, and ends on the afternoon of Monday, December 21st. Bridge will connect historic C Street to Woodland Heights. The 562-foot bridge was built in 1902. It crosses 13 railroad tracks between Commercial Street and Chase Street. The bridge was placed on the National Registry of Historic Places in 2003. It has been closed to the foot traffic in 2016 due to structural deficiencies. For those who didn't major in math, that's 10 years. The footbridge connects historic C Street to the Woodland Heights neighborhood to the north. Supporters of the renovation expect there to be foot traffic between the neighborhood and C Street businesses. Other supporters like to watch the trains go by from the vantage point of the bridge. The project consists of repair and replacement of deficient structural parts, replacement of wood decking and stairs, removal of existing lead base paint, lead base paint, and applications new paint, and the installation of new lighting. There's a picture here of the old bridge, closed sign, no trespassing. The bridge will be made ADA accessible with 2 new elevators on the north and south approaches to the bridge. Construction crews began to disassemble the bridge June 17th of 2025. Railway paid to make bridge about 4 feet higher. Bronco Enterprises is the contractor. Its main office is in Neosho. More than $12.9 million has been budgeted for the project, with $8 million of that coming from the state funds. There's a picture here of the bridge where it's lit up. It's pretty, it's white, and then there's colorful lights above the bridge. On the left end of the bridge, it's red, fades into blue. There's people in the crowds out with their phone taking pictures. In March of 2025, the city agreed to increase the height of the bridge by approximately 4 feet at the request of the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway. The railway agreed to contribute $2 million to make the bridge taller. The added height, the railway says, will allow for safer and easier track maintenance. In addition to $2 million from Burlington Northern Santa Fe and $8 million from the state, the budget includes $2.5 million in bond funding, $400,000 in city sales tax revenues, and $50,000 in donations raised by the commercial club. The club is a historic, community-focused organization of local merchants, residents, and property owners who advocate for and support historic Commercial Street. The answer is Man Column number 183, Steve Pokin. Steve Pokin writes the Pokin Around and the Answer Man columns for the Springfield Daily Citizen. He also writes about criminal justice issues. He can be reached at spoken@sgfcitizen.org. His office line is 417-837-3661.
An addendum to where to vote today. Statewide voter lookup portals. If you're unsure of your registered polling location, sample ballot, or voter status, you can check online using official state tools. Missouri voters, look up your polling site and voter registration status using the Missouri Secretary of State voter lookup. Arkansas voters, check voter status and polling places in northern Arkansas counties via the Arkansas Voter View portal. And this is Where to Vote Polls Open for August Primary Election by Stoker Wazorek. Sorry if I said that wrong. Ozarkfirst.com. They have an article with all of the locations and phone numbers to call for each county. What to bring to the polls: in Missouri, voters must bring a valid government-issued photo ID to vote a standard ballot. Acceptable forms of identification include non-expired Missouri driver's license or non-driver's license, non-expired U.S. passport, non-expired U.S. military ID. A note on provisional ballots: if you do not have an acceptable photo ID on Election Day, you may still cast a provisional ballot. Your vote will be counted if you return to your polling location with a valid photo ID before polls close at 7 p.m. or if your signature matches the signature on your voter registration card. All polling locations are officially opening today across the Ozarks as voters head to the ballot, and polling locations open at 6 and will remain open until 7 p.m. Anyone standing in line at a polling place by 7 p.m. will be allowed to cast their ballot.
This is the Springfield Daily Citizen. Arrest made in 1988 killing of pregnant Ozark women. The husband of Ronna Bremer, a 23-year-old mother who disappeared in Ozark almost 40 years ago, faces murder charges in Christian County. There's a picture here of the sheriff's car. The work of 2 detectives of Christian County helped uncover new evidence in the murder of 22-year-old Ronna Bremer, who went missing in 1988, according to an August 3rd media release from the Christian County Sheriff's Office. A grand jury in Christian County indicted her husband, Joel Bremer, on 2 counts of second-degree murder on July 24, 2026. 1 count for Bremer and another for the unborn child. He was arraigned Monday, August 3rd, and is being held in the Christian County Jail on a $200,000 bond. There's family members out there. There's children out there of Ronners that have lived with this their whole life, and now we have been able to put a piece of their life back together for them, said Sheriff Brad Cole. Even though we can't bring Ronner back, it may just be what they needed to move on with their life and get a little peace from this. Bremer was 7 months pregnant when she disappeared in Ozark. She had 2 children, ages 3 and 1, according to a 1997 story from the Springfield News Leader. Joel Bremer reported his wife missing on December 22, 1988. Her skull was discovered in 1991. Despite investigations by Christian County detectives and Missouri State Highway Patrol investigators, the case went cold. Detectives revived the investigation again in November 2024 with the assistance of a documentary team, according to a media release from CCSO. Cole said 2 Christian County investigators invested a lot of time and a lot of manpower into the case in 2024 and 2025. They traveled many miles and done a lot of tedious, hard work to get this case to the point where charges were filed, he said. What detectives found: one piece of evidence that detectives uncovered was an arrest report from the Osceola, Iowa Police Department, which showed Joel Bremer had been arrested for domestic assault against Ronner, according to the media release. During the investigation, a piece of evidence obtained in 1989 was examined in the laboratory, uncovering a DNA profile. This evidence will be brought forth during the trial for Joel Bremer, Cole said. Joel Bremer has been interviewed several times over the years, and my belief from my time involved in the case, is that he's always been a person of interest to us, he said. A number of prosecutors and investigators work on the Cole case over the years. Cole said he cannot answer why their work did not previously result in charges against Joel Bremer. I can only suspect, which I hate to do, that they didn't think that they had what they needed to present the charges, Cole said. What the charges against Joel Bremer say: Joel Bremer is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, 1 count for the death of his wife, and 1 count for the death of their unborn child. In public, unavailable court documents, Christian County Prosecuting Attorney Christian Tui wrote that Joel Bremer has a history of domestic violence against Ronner Bremer. He was also sentenced to the Missouri Department of Corrections for sexual abuse in 2000, according to the document. Ronner Bremer's skull was discovered on land adjacent to Joel Bremer's brother-in-law, the document states. The Greene County Sheriff's Office received the skull anonymously in 1991, and it was later identified as Ronner's remains in 2001, according to the media and release of CSO.
Springfield Business Journal. Demolition work is shown at the Shamrock Court building on Friday. There are demolition vehicles on the stoned building, crashing through the roof, and then the sign that is dilapidated down on the right-hand side, with a picket fence along the sidewalk and trash cans out on the right. Historic Motors Court on Springfield's Route 66, demolished by city by Claudette Riley, posted online August 3rd, 2026. At behest of the city of Springfield, a historic but dilapidated motor court on Route 66, just west of downtown, is being demolished. Shamrock Court, as it was originally named, was located at 2238 West College Street. It was recently condemned by the city as uninhabitable and a danger. Martin Google, director of the City Buildings Development Services, said in a video posted by the city that the poor condition of the property progressed to a point where it needed to be boarded up. He said there have been numerous complaints regarding the property in recent years, including a fire, allegations of drug activity, and squatters. The city has tried to do everything we could, working with the property owner to try and resolve the issues and guide him to help that would cause this property to become a contributing property again to College Street and to Route 66, he said in the video. It's unfortunate that we've come to this point. He said the mission of his department is to protect the life, health, and safety of the public, but the structures no longer can guarantee that. Stan Adam, a longtime Springfield real estate agent, said he bought the property 4 decades ago but shut it down 3 years ago. I couldn't keep up with the drugs and the squatters and the vandals and the criminals, he said in an interview. Google said recent incidents prompted the city to seek an emergency hearing to secure the property. In advance of the hearing, the city dispatched an inspector to document the interior and exterior conditions. We were able to take photos inside the structures, which we had not been able to do previously, and from that we were able to quickly determine that all the structure on site were in a condition that they needed to not be inhabited, and they needed to come down, Google said in the video. In an interview, Adam said he missed the hearing because mail delivery was too slow. Adam said he attempted to file an appeal last week, but admitted it was likely too late. Adam said that the heat and a recent injury limited his ability to work on the property. He said there had been a back and forth with the city and hoped there would be a solution before any demolition. I'd like to see them save it for vintage Route 66, Adam said July 30th. The way I see it, they're taking a solid building, the one out front, not so much the cottages, but they really could have keystone piece right there on Route 66. It's been there, but it needs people that can fix it up properly. Last week, large dumpsters were placed on the property just east of the Dairy Queen, and a bulldozer started ripping apart the 5 cottages July 31st. Most of the main structure building, constructed in 1927, according to a sign, was demolished over the weekend. The city recently started gathering data to redevelop the College Street corridor west of Grant Street of Route 66. The work will include environmental contamination and a historical survey of the properties along the route. With a final report due in early 2027, the city was asked why it acted now to demolish the Shamrock. After a recent inspection, the structures on the property were determined to be an immediate threat to public health and safety due to their severely deteriorated condition, Google said August 3rd. This required immediate demolition of the structures. Google said the city has been working with the owner for the last 3 years. He said there have been meetings and inspections. We tried to work with him and actually probably gave a longer timeline on this than we normally would have, he said in the video. He added the structures have deteriorated to a point to the level that they have to come down. Electricity boxes visible from the alley behind the property had all their wiring ripped out. Springfield Business Journal was able to observe on scene and in the city's video. The property featured broken glass, damaged roofs, and partially boarded up doors and windows. Google said Springfield police officers and a city inspector visiting the property found people living in the structures even though there was no electricity or running water. He said that happens sometimes when property is allowed to, quote, sit abandoned. In this particular case, we had police calls for drug activity, he said. Adam said he recently allowed a homeless man to stay at the property in exchange for fixing it up. He said the man, whom he did not name, failed to make any progress and apparently allowed others to sleep there too. I stopped in there one day to see him, and there was other people around, Adam said. There was always an influx of terrible people around. Historic property was for sale. Adam said he bought the property for $55,000 in 1986. He described it as looking like it was 2 weeks from the bulldozer at that time before he renovated it. He said for a period of time he lived in an apartment on the second floor of the main building and rented out the cottages. He has spent decades working in real estate, first for others, and started the Springfield Realty Company in 1985. In a post on Route 66 Times, a blog about the Traveling the Mother Road, the property is described as having 5 duplex-style cottages and a total of 10 rental units. It was known by different names, including the Shamrock Court Motel, Shamrock Motel, and Stanford Square. The original sign, which is in disrepair, was red and green. Google said August 3rd that the historic sign in front of the motor court is not part of the immediate demolition. The sign can remain in place for 6 months by ordinance, after which it will need to come down, he said. We are aware that there may be a local resident business owner that is speaking with the Shamrock about acquiring the sign. Adam said there used to be a cafe in the main building. The front of it, the north side, it's got glass blocks there. That was the doorway going into the restaurant, and it had a counter, he said. When I redid the place, pulled up part of the floor, I could see there were like 12 bar stools on the counter, but they had booths you could sit in, 6 or 7 of them around the edge. He said the property had been a filling station and truck stop before he was the owner. The truckers would stop there and they could go upstairs, and there were cots set up, he said. They could sleep a few hours and then continue on the road, either to California or back to Chicago. There were for sale signs posted on the main building, and Adam said he'd been actively looking for a buyer. Asked the price, Adam said he was open to any offer, but did not specify an amount. If you get that property in LA or New York, it's probably around $5 million, he said. In the video, Google said the city's cost to demolish the structures will be placed as a special tax bill on the property. Google said the demolition bid was $70,000. At some point, the city would need to be repaid, he said. We don't really have an interest in owning the property. Our hope is that the owner can either himself or find a buyer that can come in and redevelop this property.
This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Why drivers across the Springfield area choose Route 66 motor. He's got his Route 66 motor, buy, sell, or trade. It's got SUVs, compact cars, trucks. When you're shopping for your next vehicle, choose the right dealership can make all the difference. At Route 66 Motor, we believe buying a car should be more than just a transaction. It should be a positive experience from start to finish. Proudly serving Springfield and the surrounding communities with their sister stores in West Plains and Pacific, Missouri, we've built our reputation around putting our customers first, offering a great selection of quality pre-owned vehicles, and providing friendly, no-pressure service. A dealership built around our customers. What truly sets Route 66 Motor apart is the way we treat people. Our customers are not just another sale or another number. We take the time to listen to what they need, answer your questions, and help you find a vehicle that fits your lifestyle and budget. From the moment you walk onto our lot, our goal is to make you feel comfortable. Our team understands that purchasing a vehicle is a big decision, and we want you to have the time and information you need to make the choice that's right for you. I've got a gentleman here who's purchased a long bed 4-door truck. It's burgundy. He's standing in a short sleeve white t-shirt and some beige khaki shorts with a gray and black hat and some gray sneakers. That's why so many of our customers mention our friendly, helpful, and professional staff in their reviews. Whether you're working with Lou, Andrew, Harris, Mo, Jay, or Micah, or another member of our team, you'll find people who genuinely care about making your experience a great one. A great selection of vehicles. Finding the right vehicle starts with having options. At Route 66 Motor, we offer a diverse selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and more, giving drivers throughout Springfield and the surrounding areas plenty of choices. Whether you're looking for a dependable commuter car, a family SUV, a powerful truck, or something fun to drive, our goal is to help you find a vehicle that checks the right boxes. We know every customer is different, which is why we work hard to maintain an inventory that offers something for a wide range of needs and budgets. Financing made simple. For many customers, finance is one of the most stressful parts of buying a vehicle. At Route 66 Motor, we work to make the process as simple and straightforward as possible. Our finance team works with customers from a variety of financial backgrounds and helps explore available financing options. We understand that everyone's situation is different, and our goal is to help you understand your options and find a payment that works best within your budget. Our customers regularly tell us that our financing process was quick, easy, and painless, and that's exactly the kind of experience we strive to provide. No pressure, no hassle service. Nobody likes feeling pressured when buying a vehicle. At Route 66 Motor, we believe you should have the freedom to make your decision with confidence. Our team is here to answer questions, provide information, and help guide you through the process, but ultimately, the decision is yours. We want you to feel comfortable with your purchase and confident in the vehicle you drive home. Local people serving communities. As Springfield's own Route 66 Motor, we're proud to be part of the community we serve. Our customers come from Springfield and communities throughout the surrounding areas, and we're grateful for every person who chooses to do business with us. We understand that our reputation is built one customer at a time. Every interaction matters, every review matters, and every referral matters. That's why we work hard every day to earn the trust of the people who walk through our doors. More than just a car dealership, at the end of the day, what makes Route 66 Motor special isn't simply the vehicles we sell, it's the people behind the dealership. There's another couple here that purchased their vehicle. They've got a white Camaro with red stripes on the top. He's wearing a black tank top and some khaki shorts and sandals. He's got short brown hair. And the woman beside him is wearing a black short sleeve shirt and some blue jeans with glasses and brown hair.
The time is 12 p.m.
is a salesperson who says late to help a customer finish the process. It's the team member who takes the time to answer one more question. It's the finance team working to make the process easier. It's the customer who drives away smiling and later recommends us to a friend. Those are the moments that we define who we are. We're proud of the reputation we've built, and we're even more proud of the customers who continue to support us, recommend us, and return to us when it's time for their next model.
This one is from Ozarks First. NCAA approves ABS challenge system for 2027 college baseball season by Chris Pinson. Springfield, the NCAA is taking a page out of Major League Baseball's playbook by approving the automated ball strike challenge system for the 2027 season. The replay system, which was introduced just this season in the major leagues, allows pitchers, catchers, and batters to appeal a pitch they deem was inaccurately called a ball or strike. This past spring, the Southeastern Conference Tournament experimented with the challenge system, and the overwhelming response from players, coaches, and umpires was positive. So following its success, the NCAA approved its use for regular season games beginning in the spring of 2027. However, the measure does not mandate host schools have to use ABS. Instead, it can be used only if the host school has the required technology. And unlike MLB, which only issues 2 challenges per team per 9 innings, college teams will be given 3 challenges per 9 innings. So the next big question is, will Missouri State have the capability to use this approved measure next season? That is a conversation that is yet to take place between MSU and the Springfield Cardinals, but both sides have told me they look forward to having that discussion. I have one more if we need it. Yeah. This is from Ozarks First. St. Louis News. Missouri baby teeth study sparked nuclear test ban 60 years ago by Joey Schneider. St. Louis. A famous study involving the baby teeth of St. Louis area children helped lay the foundation for a treaty to ban atmospheric nuclear testing 60 years ago. A group of scientists led by physician Louise Reed and St. Louis area professor Barry Commoner launched the study in December 1958 through the Greater St. Louis Citizens Committee for Nuclear Information. The mission to determine whether radioactive fallout and nuclear energy had a negative impact on children's health. Pictured is Louise Reed, and she is in a mock turtleneck style blouse and with a short bob, curly bob, and glasses. And it is a black and white photograph, and she is pinning a button on a young boy with a short haircut and a polo-style long-sleeve shirt and khakis and a belt. A young donor receives a button from Dr. Louise Rice after giving his baby teeth to the Strontium Research Project in St. Louis, Missouri on January 15, 1962. The button announces, "I gave my tooth to science." Dr. Reese, an internist, was the first director of the baby tooth survey. Baby teeth are used as an available source of bone to investigate the effect of strontium-90 on human bones. And this is a photograph from the AP photo. From 1958 to 1970, researchers collected more than 320,000 baby teeth of children from various ages, primarily from those in the St. Louis area. Preliminary case studies determined that children born in 1963 had levels of strontium-90, a radioactive isotope found in bomb fallout nearly 50 times higher than children born in 1950. A limited study published by Science magazine in 1961 presented similar findings. The immediate radiation danger moved public opinion, which influenced Congress to pass and President John F. Kennedy to implement the Limited Test Ban Treaty in 1963, said the Missouri History Museum on the research. They knew that a byproduct of nuclear weapons testing is death-dealing, cancer-causing radiation. Some elemental isotopes last for thousands of years, while others decay quickly, but airborne debris drifts for miles from explosions, falling onto food and water. Kennedy campaigned for president in strong opposition to nuclear testing, according to John F. Kennedy Presidential Library. However, he entered his term at the height of the Cold War and faced mounting pressure after the Soviet Union conducted dozens of above-ground nuclear tests. In 1962, he reluctantly announced that the United States would resume atmospheric testing. Pictured is President Kennedy signing paperwork with some microphones in front of him and people standing behind him. In this October 7, 1963 file photo, President John F. Kennedy signs the Limited Test Ban Treaty during a Ratifi. As Kennedy attempted to negotiate a ban on such testing, the findings of the St. Louis baby tooth study came to his attention. Negotiations to end atmospheric radioactive testing, the issue at the center of the baby tooth study, intensified midway through 1963. By July, Kennedy had reached an agreement with the Soviet Union to exclusively conduct nuclear tests underground. By August, government officials from the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States gathered in Moscow to sign what is officially known as the treaty banning nuclear weapon tests in the atmosphere, in outer space, and underwater, or Partial Test Ban Treaty. Let us, if we can, step back from the shadows of war and seek out the way of peace. And if that journey is 1,000 miles or even more, let history record that we in this land at this time took the first step, said Kennedy on the agreement in a televised speech on July 26, 1963. The initial baby tooth study continued through 1970. A research team acquired 85,000 of the tested teeth for a 2001 analysis that included 12 children who died of cancer, had strontium-90 levels twice as high as others alive during the time of research. Some scientists denounce these findings to this day. Now the baby tooth study from decades ago carries new life in the form of a Harvard study. Researchers hope to collect tens of thousands and determine a possible connection between metals and cognitive decline at an older age. Harvard neuroscientist Mark Weiskopf launched the study in 2021, and one survey for the project remains ongoing. According to a report from drbicuspid.com, Japanese filmmaker Hideaki Ito is also working on a documentary about the original study and visited St. Louis last year for some groundwork.
Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store Radio Reading Service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we're live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.